Great experiences don't build themselves.
Behind every personalized journey is complexity, tools, teams, and tech.
AI moves fast. Expectations move faster.
Adobe Experience Cloud offers the power, but strategy turns potential into performance.
This is Off the Grid with Brandy.
Subscribe, align your stack, accelerate your enterprise. You're listening to Off the Grid with Brandy, the podcast that turns enterprise chaos into clarity. We decode technology with insights from industry leaders and experts at AM Analytics Consulting. Let's dive in.
Hi, so welcome to AM Analytics Podcast. It's called Off the Grid with Brandy, and our guest today is Skye Bell. So Skye, would you like to kind of start with an intro and tell them a little bit about yourself and the security and AI industry?
Absolutely. So my name is Skye Bell. I, came to US in 2009, didn't grow up here. My background at all, started back when I was working at Apple for 7 years. All technology that I learned from the private sector, plus the customer service experience, or how, the human focus part of technology. So I get to help a lot of people, with technology, with their own device, with, the new technology that Apple adopting or actually push out. So that was how it all started to me. Then what I do after that was going into government sector. So I was working for, New York State for quite some time now. And then I switched the role from, one group of the technology to another. Then now my current role is I get to actually look at all of AI tools and see which one will be working for us and which one would be something, we may be a little cautious about. On top of that is I'm getting my master's degree at Georgia Tech. Thank you. Yeah, in cybersecurity.
Congratulations.
So the concentration is in public policy track. So then all of this come together as a person. I have business background, I have technology, I have, public sector background. I also now, diving into cybersecurity and AI safety, particularly. So all of that, made me this is who I become now, and I get to use all of that and trying to make, honestly, sounds like a really big goal, but I just want to make the world a little bit better for my daughter. Just want to make sure that it's safe for her. She's 11 now. She's already grew up with all of this technology. All I have, to be able to do my part in it is just to make sure that things are, the way it should be, or at least what we know now. But yeah, so that's how it all started.
Nice. Great story, right? And I agree, like, we have to be the stewards of change, and we have to try to take some of that on ourselves so that we can make a better tomorrow, right?
Yep.
So what excites you more right now? Do you think it's the power of AI or securing it?
So I think that the combination of both, because I get to see the people, get to use AI and actually do something that they never thought they could. And I also get to see, government or any organization actually trying to also make sure that things are safe, but not in a way that it would hinder or stifling the innovation. So my one of the work I was doing in school was, this AI policy hackathon. So the AI policy hackathon came out because of my own frustration, purely because when I see organizations just kind of say no to AI right away without actually even giving it a good shot, without saying, hey, there's a better way we could probably do this. So I propose, I wrote that paper proposing that we should have 3 different way, we can consider deploying AI
Right,
safely.
great.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you could do, hey, if it is no risk at all, if say, what is the amount of risk that we can take. So imagine you go to the library, or you actually just search on, your online library, right? And you want to search about this very topic. However, you don't particularly know the name of the book, or like the name of the author, and you just have this concept and you just want to know everything about it, or you want to know what option you have. Imagine using natural language to be able to then query those, and then it show with all of this book that you might be interested, or anything that is relate to it.
Yeah.
It doesn't involve any hiring decision of any kind, does not involve any kind of cybersecurity concern. It does, however, involve property, right? So it's a property, it's the rights there that you have to be, consider. But outside of that, that seems to be a pretty good use case for AI.
Yeah.
And it's very low risk in terms of when you're going to get that going, right?
Yeah. I
So
agree.
yeah, and now when you're moving to the next one up, maybe you want to be able to use this application to filter, or to actually, to read all the resume for you, pick out the good candidate for you, because here is the job description and here is what we're looking for. The best candidate would have this X, Y, and Z. And then, the candidate that we are okay, wanting to still in interview or want to give a shot is right this way. So you have all of those set up, and let's say if we are really gonna go ahead and use AI for that, that's one thing come up right away is the bias, right? Because we want to make sure how can we anonymize the resume
Yeah. Correct.
without actually, that's again, equal opportunity should be the core. Then the second thing is that then, you have to still keep human in the loop, so you can see the risk is increasing. Depends on what kind of use case we are going to be using it for. Now, let's say we have such a high risk where now it is, involving infrastructure. It involved international security. It's also involved, life or death, right? In a sense of, hey, we have this can be used, but it needs to be so many different guardrails, and on top of the user education itself. So once we kind of figure that out by the risk of it, of the potential risk of it, then we can respond accordingly, so we don't have to just do one blanket cover that said no to everything. I think we passed that at this point, right? I think we should, it should just be how can we take advantage of this safely.
Yeah.
So
And yeah, I agree. People aren't looking at artificial intelligence as an assistant, right? And if they aren't growing towards the fact that this is the future, right? There's not going to be much kind of backtrack from here, and the incorporation early on. And, and I think it's been used so much as so many scare tactics where people are just like, I don't know, is it going to take my workforce? Are they going to take jobs away? And what we have to look at is revolutionizing the workforce so that people can be more successful within their roles, right? It's purely an assistant that can help with people's regular job duties.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's it, right? Upskill, reskill should be, something that everyone look into doing right now. And I understand that not everyone wanting to learn something new, right? But that's it to me. Is like life is it's a lifelong learning. It is very important to understand that everyone have a different way that we learn things as well. Some hands-on, some is actually, require a little bit more hand-holding. But I think our workforce have that ability to learn this new thing, and then learn how they can use it. And I honestly, it didn't take a lot for me to be completely sold of using it, because it is very, very helpful. And once people can see the benefit of it, and instead of being terrified of it, educate, like that's it, right? The education is what would get them out of being fearful of it to ready to go and ready to use it. So
I agree.
absolutely.
I agree. Yeah. So now I kind of want to talk a little bit about like the new security kind of landscaping and kind of go in that direction. So
Yeah.
how has AI changed the way that we approach like application security? I know we've changed application development, but how has it changed in regards to application security?
So you have a lot to really think about when you are now deploying something that use, that have the component of AI, right? One of the biggest thing that you have to be able to answer right away is that where the data get processed and how it's, how and where it's stored. So how important it is, it just depends on what kind of organization that you have. If you
Right.
have, organization that have the data that contains a lot of confidential information, or the information that would be honestly like infrastructure security, right? And that those kind of thing, you really have to have a very solid understanding of what you have first before we can go out and say, hey, this application works for us or this one is not going to work for us. The data governance has to be in place already.
Yeah.
You need to know what you have and you need to know where they are already. So that is the start. So again, if you kind of look into it and you just say, hey, this is the trade secret information. I wouldn't want this to be hosted in China. Or there's a restriction of some kind. So those rule and regulation should be something to consider as well.
Yeah.
One of the thing that I noticed lately is that the current application that you are using right now, or anything that you already have, those company might end up actually adding the AI component to it and didn't really inform you as a consumer or you as a company, to look into if those added component still comply to the same standard that you had with them. So it is very important to be aware of those things as well. Especially if again, this is liability.
I
Pretty,
agree. I
yeah.
agree. And you're
So
hosting so many, like, especially e-commerce organizations are hosting so much customer information, right? And you
yeah,
do have to make sure that in regards to like data governance, how all of it starts to work, you do want to be in compliance. But I
absolutely.
also, yeah, wonder is like, are the compliance gonna start to outweigh, like, is the technology gonna outweigh the compliance? And then we're at a constant kind of, race here, which
Yeah.
is something to think about.
Yeah, and the regulation is not going to be fast enough.
Yeah.
Usually, something does not, end up being in the law or regulation until something else happened. So knowing that you would have to have someone, in your team, in your organization who can understand that. Wait a second, this we can't just jump into and using this without really considering it. So you have to have someone who is a champion of, looking out for you in terms of, in terms of the security part, of using anything AI.
I agree. I agree. Are you seeing more defensive uses of AI, or are we still seeing more so reactionary? Are people reacting more to the powered threats out there? Are people starting to get more kind of on the upside to where they can understand where some of the defenses are happening? Or are we still just more so like, let's react type of deal?
So my past, these past few months, I dove right into this cybersecurity field, and I'm surrounded by all of these incredible people who is in the blue team and trying to defend or trying to make sure that we are protected. But like you said, it is the people who are trying to do all of these preventing things from happening or protecting us have a lot more regulation around them than the bad actors, because
Yeah.
the bad actors would just do whatever. There's no rule, there's no rhyme, there's nothing. There's only if they hit us 10,000 times and maybe 2 or 3 times works, that 2 or 3 times works.
Yeah.
It's it is still going back to traditional cybersecurity, but in much larger scale, because now you only need so much technical knowledge to be able to start something bad.
Yeah.
Right. So I actually just went to this event 2 days ago. It's called Defend the Airport.
Mhm.
So the Defend the Airport was just that was it. You have a group of people who are actually trying to make sure that you can't just walk in to the airport.
Yeah.
You can't just walk through the gate, and you can't just go in and then drain all of this gas and everything and fuel for the plane. But if you think about it, all of those systems are one way or another online now. It actually requires some kind of, account access. It requires internet connection. So everything is connected now, which means
It
that
is.
there's adding more chance for things to just get, hit. It's a target, right? At this point now, it is a target. So when we know that those things out there, those vectors are always going to be there. We have to also step up our game to
We do.
really think of, wait a second, should I hire, a pen tester? Should I actually get these, folks to come and test it out and see where my weakness is?
Yeah.
It's like, I think it becomes necessity now.
It does. It does. And not only a
Yeah.
necessity, it should be a consistent like check, right? Because your
Yes.
agents can also be to the point to where you can continuously like kind of check different endpoints to ensure that, your agent's working correctly, that you're not having problems with it. So if we're not doing our job from like even the development standpoint, like there have been several times at organizations that I've worked for to where you physically kind of see somebody, like you said, they could be hitting the application almost 1,000 times a day, right?
Yeah.
So that they can be able to understand exactly how to kind of get into. And then all of a sudden, if you're not looking at those reports, right, you're not looking at your sonars, you're not looking at like your different reporting tools that will allow you to see, like, oh, okay, well, somebody's trying to hack our
Yes.
application. What do we do? You have to be on the front end of that and definitely not on the tail end of that,
Yeah, absolutely. So being proactive is very important. And then one thing I learned as well is that you have not only that you have this one person wanting to be proactive about it. You have to get the buy-in
Yeah.
from your C-suites. You have to be able to tell them what's the impact it's going to be like.
Yeah.
Put some fear into them. But that's it's one of those, until everything is fine, until something is just not fine anymore. and
Yeah.
and that and that is it, right? Like, so if you're doing a really good job in a cybersecurity field, everything is working and no one notice anything. But when
Yeah.
something goes really, really bad, everyone feels it, everyone understand it. And education is a big part. There's a lot of the gap between folks that, again, if you have great CTO, you have CISO, they should be able to advocate for the team to get what they need, to get the tools that it's available out there for them. It's not a one person job. It's
No.
definitely it has to be the organization mindset,
Right.
to understand that this is cybersecurity is important, and that it's not just what's online either. Even a simple thing that people don't, write the password onto a notepad and leave it
Yeah.
next or under their laptop. Simple things, right? And you lock your computer. And a lot of time, I'd say the end user, as long as they can understand
Hmm.
the magnitude of the impact if something were to go wrong, as long as they understand that, most people would actually be more mindful of what they need to do.
Right.
And guarantee that so many people that actually that still save password in the browser, and open files or click on links that they are not supposed to, or like unsure about
Yeah.
sometimes. Yeah. And even if even us people that is tech savvy enough, Sometimes you look at something at a glance and you're like, okay. But then think about the folks that does not have that, does not even have the you see something and it, they can't really see well. And then on top of that, they can't distinguish between that's a real logo, that's not a real logo, or just is it just a false warning of some kind. But a lot of education for sure. That's what
I
we
agree. I
yeah.
tell like everybody in my family, don't click on anything that you don't know. And it has saved you so much trouble and so much time because it can really, it really can really take all of your information. Next thing you know, you can really be in a situation you don't want to be in. So
Absolutely.
yeah. What's your type of secure code generation from AI tools like Copilot or like ChatGTP? Are there any, again, or what's your take on any like secure code generation?
So I personally use only a few of the tools that to generate code. I use Cursor, and I also use just like quote unquote vibe coding using lovable.dev. That is one. But if I have set of codes, or I have something that I want to start from the ground up, I would be using just really I have my favorite. I don't know if I can say that, but I have so I can I have Gemini, and I also have Mistral.ai as well. But all of them will require you to understand each one of those line of code does. So yes, it is easy to just get something up and running very quickly, if you have something specific in mind, specific function in mind. You can get that started, but it will require someone who understand the code itself, understand what is going on, going step by step. So I personally would not just deploy something
No, yeah, I
because
agree.
when you get it out of AI, sure, it is a really good start. It is, it is a creative tool, right? It's allow you to, to see that hey, oh, we can, if we start with this X component here, it requires this kind of back end, and it will also require, something at the front end, but also you add more things to it. My point is try it, right? But
Yeah,
don't go ahead and just trust it.
yeah,
You
I
have
agree.
to have either, you have to know what you're doing, or you also have to know people who know what they're doing to be able to make sure that hey, this code is good and safe. But if any, software development rules, right? You just try it. However, try it in a very close environment first. Don't do anything on the live. Don't do anything on the prod.
Yeah. Oh, definitely in
Obviously,
your production environment.
sandbox, please. Thank
Do not
you.
push your prod.
No, just don't do that. We should learn. We should all learn that by now.
Yeah,
But yeah. So
I've had
that's
some.
just yeah.
Yeah,
It's like no. Let's just contain that.
let's test it out. If you, I've had some junior developers on my team try to put a PR request in to push, and you're like, no, did you even? And I think that's what, to your point, right? They're helpers, right? So they can
Yes,
assist you in creating some of your code, but some of you should be reading the documentations for the APIs. You should be
absolutely.
understanding all of the information so that it's still an assister, but as a human, you still have to come in and do the actual kind of correction of the code and make sure that it works, and you have to kind of test it out so it can help you from a coding perspective, but it shouldn't be doing your coding, not at all,
No.
developers.
Yeah,
So
you definitely will require to have, to have the expertise already to be
yeah,
able to use it effectively, because then you would know when something is not right.
yeah,
And
when it's not
that's
working.
very important. Yeah,
I totally agree.
absolutely. Yeah.
So in regards to like toolboxes and some of the changes, right? How are the threat actors using AI right now? From phishing to buzzing, like what are some of the things that the threat actors are doing right now that companies should be watching out for?
I have seen this where they do would just, clone the entire website.
Yeah, the entire website.
Entire
Yeah.
website. Yeah. So you clone the entire website, you make everything looks exactly the same. Then you can, if you can grab all of the email, all of the account information, even just the email address from that very particular client, right? So when everything is, think about this, when you are looking at your email on your phone. Okay.
Mhm.
You scroll through it pretty quickly. You skim through it pretty quickly. If the way I've seen it being done, and this is one of the very dangerous one I've seen, is that you see the name of the bank, and then, yeah, sure, you can tap into it and then you can see the email address. But if it is something that come to you all the time from the same bank, you never really look at the email address anymore when it looks exactly just like. Yeah. So you have a AI generated website, and then on top of that is they create this email message exactly what it would look like. And when all of that come together, you tap on something on that on the link on the email, it brings you to that website, and it looked just like the website that you have seen before. And when you are on your phone, maybe you don't see the URL very clearly. So therefore, it's a high chance, much, much, much higher chance that you'll fall for something.
You will.
And I've
Mhm.
seen that, and seen it many times now at this point. And it's also even it's a combination of everything, right? Could be just because we are so desensitized by the amount of email we all get,
Yeah.
and then from all of the same vendor or same company that we had established some kind of relationship before.
Mhm.
So when that happened, it just, to me, you know if I can see it, that I might have fall for it.
Yeah.
Think about the folks that does not have that at all, like does not even have any understanding of, oh, the email does not come from my bank domain, it came from someone else.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot more now to prevent it. It takes a whole lot more now to be able to combat it if you are the company. So honestly though, there's really no sure way to stop it from happening, because
No.
the information, any public information that you have out there of your own company, can be spoofed, can be reproduced. And again, those threat actor does not care about intellectual property.
It doesn't. No, not.
It does not, it's not a thing for them. So they do all of that, and again, if they hit one thing, that's one thing, that's another credential they can then use to log in and then do more things. So the mechanics of it has to be an education once again, and it's also have to have we would have to have some kind of system that respond to that very quickly. So let's say if it is a bank, you run into this problem, you see this phishing email, it has to be easily reportable, right? So you just forward it to this email address right over here, your
Yeah.
company can handle it, and
Yeah.
then you could send cease and desist, make sure that website get removed. But you have to do all of that. So do all of that very quickly. You already have to have something in place.
You
So
do.
in a sense, right, you have your cybersecurity folks receiving those information, then they would have to act on it right away. Working with legal folks to again generate some kind of, do whatever that they can in on the legal side of things. But and you really just have to educate your customers.
You do. You do.
Yeah.
And I think you made a point earlier, especially like with the C-level suite. I think what the C-level suite has to start understanding is like there are going to be so many people who have the ability that are going to be so innovative within tech that they
Mm-hmm.
have to start taking chances on all companies, some of the smaller companies, some of the larger companies, because also too, you want to have a variety of organizations who are very like forward into thought, right? And who
Yeah.
specialize in certain areas. Like if there's a company that specializes in a certain area, those are the companies that have routed things out from beginning to end to left and right. They've created their agent, especially like within the area of like app dev and the areas of like cybersecurity. No, they are also testing for things that they've seen over the years. So experience starts to lie in there in regards to some of the agents that they're creating to ensure for more efficiency across the board.
Yeah.
So it's important to like really have buy-in from your entire organization so that you can be successful, because the threats are going to start to become more and more and more. Preparation is better than none.
Oh, absolutely. And the idea of doing more with less, right? So that fit into this narrative where why, we should be taking advantage of AI in every front. Not just generative AI, but agentic, and really it is ripe for that opportunity. We have, gathered so much data now. Everyone have a whole lot that they could use to just, just create their own model. Well, don't even have to create their own model at this point. They could just use RAG and be good with it, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like it is going to just continue to be, exponential growth. And I can see it. It is going to be, it will be a lot of cybersecurity issue, to look out for. It will be a lot more. The volume will be so much higher because now it's easier to create. It's no longer, a fake looking email. It is no longer, it's everything is, being pumped out so much faster.
Yeah.
When, just think about having like an agentic AI who does all of the spamming and gathering information all the time, and see it's already
Already there.
there.
Yeah, it's gonna
It's
be
already there.
Yeah. What do you think in regards to AI enabled, attack scenarios? Do you think that, I guess, like, do you think at this point anything is underestimated right now? Or do you think from a security perspective, people should like have their extra eye out? So in regards to some of these AI enabled, like, attack scenarios, what do you think is the most underestimated area right now, or most underestimated thing?
I think the agentic AI.
Yeah.
If you have, think about setting up, right? You can set up an agent to do, go ahead and then do all of this research about this company, and
Yeah.
then you have another one processing all of that, and you have another one that actually just create, very fake looking, or like not fake looking, but a fake
Very real
website,
looking.
fake,
Yeah.
yeah, real looking,
Yeah.
website, and you have another one crafting the email, and all of that can be done probably, I'd say, if we are doing it as a human, takes probably a few hours at very least, let alone like creating a new website. But all of that can be done, and if it can be done so fast, just shot everything out, and then you have one agent just keep hitting the email or searching for the email, and then just get through that way. But then if it is a combination, like think about the combination, right? So we have, if you're doing some work, some recon work, and then you figure out, oh, okay, this company right here order pizza every Friday.
Yeah.
Then you add, you just attach these, or actually like send over a snail mail with the 2D barcode
Mhm.
that come with the payload. You scan it, it looks like, like a real website,
Yeah.
a bunch of payload, on your Android device, and then here have all the credential in a heartbeat. And then once you have that, again, most people have some kind of work, access on the phone. So if even the combination of AI and then combination of the know-how, the folks that trying to just, do all the bad things, it will empower them in a bad way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I feel like it's, we're underestimating it. We're definitely not prepare for this. So I would be, I would want to continue to see as well on the defensive side of the world, see how they are, using AI as well to, to combat it. From the from what I've seen, there's definitely tools out there already where you can kind of see like this is the baseline of everything, of the network, of all of the things that you monitor in your organization.
Mhm.
And when something jumped out, is it a false positive? Is it really something worth looking into? Is it something that I can also see agentic AI being looking at something, analyzing it, notify the right people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So that is already a use case right there that it can be done. But it would be a fun watch. That's for sure. That's also terrifying in a way.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you though with the real-time manipulation, because if we do start to generate like synthetic or even modify some of the digital transactions on the fly, that's currently, to your point, happening, right? Like on the fly, they are reproducing sites. It is real-time manipulation, which can, to your point, right? It can very much so appeal to be extremely legitimate. But then afterwards, like it is completely something to where somebody has like, like fished this information to you. And now all of a sudden you are clicking on these things and they have your information, right? So
Yes.
the real-time manipulation is extremely scary. And if companies don't start to really kind of prepare for that, right? You can just imagine the massive amount of lawsuits. You can imagine the massive amount of everything that people can just really kind of have their everything kind of like stripped from them. So the real time manipulation is something that is very extremely kind of it needs to be really monitored very closely,
Yeah,
and it should be some preparation in regards to security to be able to prepare for it.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
If you had 60 seconds, right? Like now you're talking to a non-technical kind of executive and you had 60 seconds to kind of tell them about AI and some of the risk, right? What would be kind of like your spiel to say, hey, C-level suite people, start listening to the AI people?
Yeah. One of the first thing I would say is that just you have to empower your people now.
You do.
And it's that's no, it should be done since yesterday, but just today is what you have now. So once you empower your people, they understand how to use it, they understand how to use it safely. um you know the monitoring of the use as well, that would be one of the key things I would definitely recommend. But yeah, really, the best resort is your people. And even though AI is a tool, it is a tool.
Yes.
At least, for now, it does not have any kind of, yeah, it's not sentient yet. So thank
Yeah.
goodness. But it's coming. Um, this is the kind of thing that keep me up at night. I'm like, oh man, it is so possible because like it doesn't happen here in US right now, but outside, like anywhere else, everyone just going to go at it and trying to develop everything as fast as they can without a care of humanity, right? So that is my honestly, that's probably like the worst fear that I
Yeah.
have. Because not everyone wanting to see the humanity surviving, they only want to see the power and the money, and therefore that's the scary
It
part.
is.
That's
It
it.
is. It is. You did say something that's super important that kind of goes into our next topic, because humans do still matter, right?
Hmm.
Ethically, culturally, and also at team level defenses. What with all of the automation, right? Where do you see humans playing the most critical role? With the new kind of future and trajectories of AI.
Really just strategy.
Yeah.
So you have to have someone who understand the process, from just the business point of view.
Yeah.
So you don't have someone who understand what's needed you're not going to be able to create or actually utilize AI tool to do what's need to be done.
Yeah.
So you have to have someone who truly understand the business processes already. Then you have to put the right people in the right place. So there's no different than any other tool when it came out. So when internet came out, the job function or like the description might change, but the core needs of the organization will stay the same. If you are the company that actually is doing all of this you know work for, say, let's sell the car, right? If your core business is to sell the car, what can AI do to make all of or trying to remove as many friction as possible? It still require human to see those friction and point it out.
Yep, it does.
So someone who have this, the eye for what kind of strategy this company will need, what is the core value, what is the vision and goal, and then you can bring in the tool to say, hey, if we are going to save so much more time if we are doing this, we are using this tool here to allow us to just, instead of having to wait for our salespeople to get back to people, why don't we have that conversation started right when they reach out? Because you go on a website, you look at something and you said, contact me, and you wait forever and you don't know when they are going to contact you. You might get a confirmation, right? But the thing is that if, let's say, you put an AI agent there and train it to be, the real like sales lead person, you can actually ask it, you can set a parameter that say, hey, get all of this information that, what's needed for what is the must have, right? It could be, it could actually be this one person needs, a car that is an SUV, but then also, want to make sure that is big enough for this X, Y, and Z. So to filter all of those lead, it is very important, because it's then think about how much time going back and forth, right? Could be a call, then you actually playing phone tag, and then you are doing, your email, and email going nowhere, and you get the information. So those friction can be removed. And I think the biggest part is we need to be able to identify what are those friction that can make, business going more efficiently.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the key.
Yeah. I think every company right now should be hiring some form of a strategist. Every company, should be. It shouldn't be one organization that doesn't even have a company that's coming in to do strategy work for them, right?
Right. Yeah.
Look at their systems and say, hey, this is what you may need right here. And if not, you can take that strategy. And I wouldn't suggest, but some companies can try to implement some of those things on their own, which I wouldn't suggest, right? Because then you can end up wasting just a lot of like dollars and not know exactly what direction you're going in. But you can hire strategists and also bring strategists within your organization so that they can be able to work with organizations that have some of the key factors to propel you into the future, right? So if companies are at least at the strategist stage to where they're at least consulting with some other organization about artificial intelligence, that's where organizations are really going to go wrong, because that's the human feel in it. The human feel is, how many strategists can I have within my organization that can start to look at these different workflows and optimize those workflows, right? So all of those things are super important in this big world of, AI. Do you think that AI could actually help bridge the gap between, and this is a big one, right? I'm a developer, you work in security, right? Do you think that there's a way that artificial intelligence can start to bridge the gap between us? If people don't know, there is a fierce war. No, I'm joking. With dev and security. No, I'm joking. But there can be some gap bridges, though.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's, I don't even think that is, just AI per se. I think it is just the communication piece of it, right? It's like, I have to understand things from your perspective. at the same time as you will have to have a pretty good understanding on my perspective on things as well. So that's why, to me, it will require us to talk. It will, again, trying to understand each other, trying to establish the relationship, trying to, come up with the shared goals, right? Because I think what we're doing, it's not even like an opposite side of the world. We're doing something, we're seeing things, yes, putting, having to think about security is not the sexiest thing. It's not making things running faster, not making things more efficient, right? But at the same time, we still have to do those things just because we know that it could be a big liability at the end if we don't. So including it right off the bat, safety by design is something that, rings true. And if that start right, get all the stakeholders together right off the bat, that's one of the best things you can do, because you don't want to keep going through the entire project just to be told by cyber security people that that's not going to cut it. That's not doable. That's the data structure. No, not going to work. All of those time that you would spend doing that, right? So involve everyone, talk it out and make sure that, everyone understands the goal, the same goal, and have to just be able to work together.
I agree. I think I actually like working with security, and I like coming up with we have group thought, right? To where different people are in the rooms, and I want to actually hear because the problem is developers start to think as if they're in the security realm, and then we start to program for it. And then we're programming for things that are potential threats, but not maybe all of the threats that potentially can be out there, right? So if you start to have more of, the room kind of working together, right? And you come out with hey, this is what we're developing. What do you think about this? And it's more open conversations. Those should happen, honestly, really during some of your scrum periods or some of your planning meetings. And a lot of that's not going on in the planning meetings. We're so project focused that we're not really app and, security kind of as focused as we should be, which, hurts the organization in the long run, Yeah. How do we kind of make sure that AI doesn't reinforce any biases or overlook some ethical kind of landmines within app security?
So I would start from just, again, human in the loop, right? Yeah. So we have to make sure that we have that in place. On top of that is we have to have some kind of mechanics that to be able to report something or record it. So, the audit part of hey, this is the input and here is the output and here is why it's not right, or no, this is not okay. So that has to be built in by design, so people can report something. And if that is the case, we'll have to also have a plan in place as well. If this happened, you report the incident, then what's next? Who is going to own it? Who is going to be the one, figuring out if this is a stop and no go, we are not using this again, or hey, what can we do to fine tune this too? So then it removes that very specific, gaps there. If we have all of that in place, I think that would be the really fastest way to get any of the issue that you might see. The bias might be, something that I've tested quite a handful of them, and you really have to push it to actually get it to really show the bias. Most of the time, people would actually just ask AI to play a game or to act like the different role to be able to generate those things. there's a lot of guardrails in place already with with all of the newer large language model, and on top of that there's layers of other specific filter that you can put on top of it. So I would say for the most part, what you can do on the organization level is just the mechanic feedback of just so people have a way to report it, have a way to track it, who owns it, how it's actually getting mitigated, how, if it is something that you would have to send it over to the company, or actually that's it has to be a feedback loop there available. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I think too, like when you have more diverse kind of teams and it's very deliberate in regards to its design, that can really start to it allows for some of the models to be trained in inclusivity and maybe some of the different data sets. And I think we have to start thinking that way too, because it can eventually just have one voice, right? So you do have to diversify kind of like that group setting of people who are involved in that process to ensure that that you are having a very kind of like even keel kind of model, because it is, right? It's learning based off the same kind of information over and over and over again, and that can expand into so I think a diverse kind of like group set will definitely also help with maybe some of the biases, but there's biases, so it's going to be kind of hard to ensure, right, that it's going to be hard, right? There's no 100% with anything.
Yeah, human have bias. Right? Yeah. Things that I thought about this too. I think I had a great conversation with, HR folks. And despite knowing that they are not supposed to be biased, you still know that it exists. Yeah. And it's the same thing. What do we do about it after that? Or what do we do about it? That's where we have to really think about. Are we going to let it slide? No, we're not. It has to be addressed. And how are we going to address it? That's the thing that we have in our power to do, right? Our own action and reaction to anything. So in this case, it really is, education, sure. If you actually have, the people who use it need to know when something is not right. They need to be able to stand by it. They need to be able to just read through it and understand it and verify it. Trust but verify, always. And that's, I think that's the best we could definitely hope for, especially with the ongoing, and then it's just doesn't seem like it's going to end anytime soon of the streak of this development, and it's just so fast. It moves so fast
all the time.
Crazy.
It's every day. Yeah. With that said, what AI kind of tools on the offense or the defense, right, have caught your eye recently? I know there's a lot of different tools out there, but is there any one or two tools specifically?
Absolutely. So one of my favorite one I learned about is the Axe AI. So axe.ai. That I saw the presentation the first time. It is pretty much a platform for someone to test, the security testing. So what they do is when all of the tools are available to you, from the security standpoint, imagine you have a pen tester that do all of the work for you instead of having, you still do need some form of cybersecurity training. All you do need, the people who are capable of using it, obviously. But instead of having to learn and understand all of those tools, you just have someone who actually understands enough to be able to start using these tools. And therefore, it tests everything for you.
Yeah.
And it's super cool. And I'm more than happy to actually shoot it your way too. This is one
definitely.
of the one that caught my eye, because I saw the demo of it. And it's a cloud native offensive platform. Do penetration testing, but the coolest thing about them is that they also have another company as well that do the actual in real life physical
Yeah.
pen testing as well. So the pen testing they do is they would try to, let's say, go into the bank and how to get into, the bank, say server.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have the physical router there, they would be, try to become this really the service provider walking into the bank. No one question anything. You walk right into the server room, you get into it, then you plant something in there, and here we are, access to all the things. So that was kind of what actually was very, very impressive to see, is that there's the connection. It's not just just AI that we have to be afraid of. We actually have to be afraid of the people who know things and then empowered by AI.
Yeah.
That's what it's mind-blowing for me. It's just going to continue that way. But that is one of my favorite security tools that I'm actually seeing right now. And I can see it being something that's, going to end up, this is like, it's almost like a new category of a cybersecurity tool. Yeah. It's a one-stop shop. You have dashboard here. You actually have all of the, testing being done for you once it all connected. And then you actually have, the portion of what kind of report needs to get sent to who in what template, because each one of those people get different
threats,
language level, right? So you might, if you talk to C-suites, you have to, make sure that they can understand what went down. You can be more technical if you are talking to others, say the CTO of the company. So that's why they are fine-tuning the entire, penetrations testing. And it's amazing to actually see, and I can't wait for you to see it.
Yeah, I love it. I love the fact that they do individualized reporting, especially for a different group, so that they can be able to understand exactly what it is. That's incredible. But,
think about how much time we end up, taking this time to have to write those up, especially if it is just, hey, this is one of the incidents right over here. This is how it happened. This is how it was,
That's incredible.
Caught, and this is what we need to do. This is recommendation, all the implication, just there right away. Imagine, that in minutes instead of having to wait, for a brief after the incident was resolved, and then so it's pretty incredible. Yeah,
I can imagine. I love it. I love that form of technology. If you could design an AI tool from scratch, what would it be? What would it do? I'm so curious to know.
Oh, that's a good one. For me, I think I want to design something that, would be a place or a platform for people to learn AI the way they want, at their level. Yeah. So, I want, say, this one platform right here. If my mom, who is 65 years old, I want her to be able to learn it as well, but I want her to learn the way she wants to, or the things that she wants to. So it could be, it could be as simple as, hey, I want to know, how to look for a recipe, or I want to, what can I use AI to plan trip to this and this and this, or what plan the event. Now, while my 11 years old might want to learn how to code, and I want that platform to be teaching her how to code at her level.
Yeah.
Right. So it's the same thing with, again, now I'm a grad student. I look at things. I look for research. I want to be able to, to learn about the methods of, doing this research. And I want to dive deep into it. I want to learn something in that rhyme of, what I want to know. But that would be one of the things that I want to create, is just a platform for people to be able to learn anything that they wish they learn at their level.
I agree. Yeah. It'd be interesting too to have a tool where people can learn how security starts to affect them and what can they do to be proactive, and constant kind of like sessions, especially for different generations, so they can understand like different threats that kind of come in, and at least they're aware of them, and like have those films come out maybe like from educational purposes like every like quarter, so they can see like what the new scams are. No.
I know, right? Yeah, wouldn't that be nice, right? Because it's like, if you know, think about this, we could totally do this too, if you think, do like a little assessment, right? Maybe 5 questions or like 10 questions, whatever that might be. And then based on how you did with those questions, it tailored your your training, your, say in this case, security training, for you at the, the spot where you definitely could learn a little bit more, or, there's an education opportunity there. If that could be a platform on its own, like really, cybersecurity training or awareness, right? And then, gosh, we're gonna need to start a company now, Brandon.
I know. Look, now we have a company, AI, scammers of the future and the past.
There you go.
And we get them all.
Absolutely, that's awesome. But yeah, it is. See, like the crazy thing is that now when you come up with this kind of idea, you can actually just throw it in, tools like lovable.dev, and then it will just go ahead and start creating the website for you.
And the next thing you know, you have a whole new. But it is important, though, right?
It is, yeah.
As we're talking about you have to be prepared. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. You have, at least it can inspire you, give you this creativity. At least like you can see something as a prototype. You kind of have something in you, already on your mind. That would be, the tools are out there.
As we're talking about the future of AI and the security culture, right? Are we heading towards the future where AI writes where it writes and secures all its code? Or will we still, and I think we'll still need human review, but do we also still need and we talked about this, right? Will we still need, and I think we're just reinforcing this, right? Are we still going to need humans?
I think so. Or we'll need an agentic AI that would do like the debuggers and all the things. So you make AI work with AI, figure out like, you're wrong. No, you're wrong. I did it right. It is. So yeah, it is. There's a place for it, right? But at the end of the day, you wouldn't want AI to be the one making decision. So, again, you have to know enough to know what's right or what's wrong. Yeah. And you also have to know enough about that, hey, this is not working. Or, hey, when something stops working, then what do? Do you just, ask AI again? How do you fix that? Sure, you can, give you some idea of what to look for, right? Yeah. But then, it will help a lot. Yeah. It will help in terms of narrowing down, or actually like the problem isolation itself. But to fix the problem, it will require, not just AI. Because you see the way you see the problem, and the way AI don't see the problem per se. It just gather from all of the bunch of information that's repeat. It's there. It's a database. That's about it, right?
That's what it is. So we have a game that we play together, but before the game, I want to ask one last question.
Sure.
And this is a little bit off pattern here, but both of us being women in tech, right? I guess what's the message that you have for, young women that, especially, we're both minorities, right? What are one thing that you have for, young minorities or just women, period, that want to get into tech? They're maybe a little scared because we do work in very kind of male dominated spaces, right?
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you would kind of just really encourage those young women so that they can be ready for the future and also look into security and look into
never
these
stop
areas
learning?
To get into?
That's one. Second one is advocate for yourself because no one else will. And don't wait for motivation, just do it.
Yeah, great. I love it, right? I think that's a great way to kind of tell these young ladies that they can do, I agree, everything what you said. They can do whatever they want, right?
Yeah.
They have to be agents of change. They have to want to
Absolutely.
let them. So I love
that's it, right? If, no one else is gonna do it for you. So here you go. Now you gotta just take that in your own hand, and you just have to do it. Put one step in front of another, and everything is a learning opportunity. So
everything. I agree. So our game is called What in the World, right?
All right.
2 minutes to solve a
Okay.
problem, right? So here's our problem. What in the world do we do if AI systems we rely on daily, like chatbots, virtual assistants, fraud detection tools, were hacked by bad actors? How could we design AI to defend in real time? I'll let you go first.
I would probably do like the defensive AI, agentic AI. I would have, obviously it's going to run 24/7, having the information I have about, the business what I'm doing, and then have it again, knowing the baseline of this is what normal look like. And when something doesn't work right, then again, notify the right people. So that's probably would be what I would do to prevent that. But if it's already happening, when you do that, I mean, you kind of have to just shut it down. I just shut it down. It's fine. Pull the plug. I thought about this a lot. It was like, oh my God, what if we would have no power? What if we have no internet? That's the same idea for me too. It's like, if we got to the point where we use AI for everything, and now we know that it is starting to like attacking, us. I mean, you have an option to not use it. You just have to not use it, which probably gonna be, oh God, it's gonna be terrible. Terrible, because I use it every day for everything. I know.
It's big. Yeah, I think I definitely agree though, but we need to definitely embed in some AI dynamic kind of threat detection, right? Like you were saying.
Yeah.
So we have to have something that's already embedded in so that it can start using some of the machine learning to continuously monitor some of the patterns, right?
Yeah.
But that's proactive, right? But if you're unplugged it, I agree. Unplugged.
I mean, and we can just go ahead, kick back and relax, put your feet in the sand, and then with a little drink and umbrella, somewhere else outside where there's like no internet connection, no cell phone, no nothing. And I don't know how long that's gonna last, but
and just live there for a life. I love it. Well, thank you. I know that we are at an hour, and I appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on and educating people, especially about cybersecurity and AI, and also really encouraging young women, right, to want to get into this field, because that's going to be our future, and we have to also push. Any last words for everyone?
Let's go. Let's do this thing.
All right. Thank you.